Japan, in its wide cultural background, holds an immense mythology that many outside the country don't know. An amount of creatures, gods, and innumerable minor deities are described in Shintoism, and many believe that inside the Nippon archipelago, there is a vast quantity of haunted places where they manifest, sometimes showing their most lenient side, taking care of the environment they inhabit. But on some occasions, they manifest to travelers in forests and mountains to scare them to death, bewitching them by casting horrible curses at them. They don't have a defined shape and can be the spirit of any object, plant, or animal. The origin of yokai comes from the Shinto religion, that ancient Japanese belief that worships nature and countless gods and protective spirits. This term can be translated as spirit, demon, or monster, and there are countless kinds of them in this classification. They have been described in so many forms that some believe there are more yokai than animals in the world. Some have parts of common and anthropomorphic animals. Some are hybrids that have both animal and human traits. The most common yokai is the animal kind, with powers that can be harmful for human beings. Among them are the tanuki, shaped as raccoons, the kitsune, shaped as foxes, the ukami, shaped as wolves, the makaneko, shaped as cats, and many other kinds. Among the most peculiar, and perhaps the most well-known yokai, is the kappa. This creature is a mix of a frog, a duck, and a turtle, whose head has a cavity filled with water. It's considered a murderer since the unfortunate human who crosses its path in a river, where it usually dwells, will be drowned again and again as a form of torture, just for fun, until the kappa gets bored or kills its victim. It is said that in order to break free from its grasp, the water hole needs to be emptied. It needs to be tricked into taking a bow, so it spills the water and the victim can escape. Another popular yokai is the Oni, a spirit similar to European ogres and goblins. Highly regarded in Japanese culture, they can manifest in different colors with 1 or 2 horns on their heads, and of course, they can be dangerous. They always carry an iron club and are covered in tiger fur. Their humanoid aspect can be so deceiving as to be confused with a short person. Certainly, the strangest of yokai is the Tsukumogami, for they are shaped as ordinary, everyday objects. According to Japanese folklore, when an object is over 100 years old, it comes to life and adopts a conscience as a spirit, thereby creating this kind of yokai. Among the most popular Tsukumogami are the karakasa, umbrellas, and the kamiosa, old sake jars. Last but not least, these spirits can also manifest in the physical plane as a will-o-wisp in many colors, but commonly in a cool palette, easily recognized as a white, blue, green, or magenta flame that floats in the air and moves with a conscience of its own. They are usually isolated from humans, but people still believe in them, since they are seldom seen at night, especially by elders who are close to their death. Yet they don't feel shyness towards the animals they're in charge of protecting. The few who have managed to contact them describe their behavior as arrogant towards people. In contrast to yokai, it should be noted that one must not confuse them with other demons and evil spirits. They are creatures that come from demons, gods, animals, plants, and objects. Even though these spirits can act wrong and sometimes mischievously, they do so to protect nature. Despite them not being totally aware of the harm their acts can do, and that sometimes these mischiefs can have fatal outcomes, making them fall down a cliff. These spirits follow their own rules and can't tell good from evil, so you could say they are neutral. Demons, on the other hand, are entities of pure evil, whose only intention is to cause pain and harm. Also, yokai being spirits able to move between planes at will, close to both gods and demons, are much more powerful than human beings. And some possess a kind of power that must be feared, so it's advisable to avoid them. As part of the enormous legacy of ancient beliefs as years pass, the stories of yokai have been softened and turned into a form of entertainment. Due to their allure, they have had a historical presence in Japanese paintings, literature, and theater, and more recently in manga, anime, movies, and all kinds of productions, both from inside and outside the land of the rising sun, that have attempted to show them as accurate as possible. These productions have been divulged and popularized around the world, making these entities part of popular culture. Truth be told, for the most traditional point of view of Japanese culture, yokai have this terrifying origin. Because they don't obey the same moral codes humans do, and their behavior are guided by the laws of the astral plane. If you ever travel to Japan, remember that you're not only in a technologically advanced country. Tradition and progress live together in perfect harmony. Both scientific and spiritual sides are present, and in case you cross paths with these yokai, you must always be the smartest to avoid their influence. Otherwise, you might be cursed, hurt, or, in the worst case scenario, murdered.